YouTube. It's Life Experiences 247. So today's session is going to be about the express entry, the category based system of the express entry. I have a lot of videos where I explain how the express entry works, but for some time now, we all know how difficult it's become for people to get enough points for the express entry general. So I have been recommending the category based system to people because, as we all know, if you qualify under any of the category based system, any of the 6 categories, it means you do not necessarily need the high points for you to be able to get an invite from IRCC. And that makes it a bit easier to get your permanent residency of Canada. And one thing I've also realized recently is that some people, especially people who are already here in Canada as international students, do not know they can also apply for permanent residency through this system, through the express entry. So first, you are not a permanent resident and you want to become a permanent resident, whether you are already in Canada or not, you can definitely apply for express entry. And especially for people who have schooled in Canada or are still schooling in Canada, you may also qualify through the Canadian Experience class. Under the express entry, we have a lot of different classes. So the particular one I'm going to talk about today is the category based system, as in you have to fall under any of those categories. And the categories are French language proficiency, healthcare and social services occupations, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math occupations, trade occupations, agriculture, and agri-food occupations, and then education occupations. So I am going to share my screen on YouTube so that okay. Mm. Okay. So if you're on YouTube, then you can see the screen now. So as I said, the 6 categories that fall under this category-based system is the French language proficiency, healthcare and social services occupations, STEM, that is STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and math occupations, trade occupations, agriculture, and agri-food occupations, and then we also have the education occupations. Actually, education was just added, I think, this year. Previously, education wasn't part of it. So what happens here is that if you happen to have to qualify under the French language proficiency, then when they have a draw under the French category and you have enough points, they will invite you. And let's say if you have French language proficiency, but a friend of yours who doesn't speak French or isn't fluent in French or haven't written their French proficiency exam yet has more points than you, and you both apply for the express entry, you with the lower points can get an invitation before that your friend who actually has higher points. And this is just because you qualified under the French language proficiency. So that is why I am teaching this particular one. And I know many people also have problems with how they are going to know which category they can qualify under. So because of that, we are going to go through each of them and the qualifications so that if you do qualify under any of them, you will be aware of it and know if to try harder or not. So we are going to start with the French language proficiency. So when we go to the French language proficiency, you just to be eligible under the French language proficiency, you just have to write your French language test results that show a minimum score of 7 in all 4 language abilities. So, what I know with regards to the English test, because I've never taken the French test before, and so the French, they have the TEF Canada, and they also have TCF Canada. So they have 2 different types of French tests that you can take. Just like the English, we have CELPIP, we have IELTS, we have PTE, that's Pearson Test of English. So we have 3 under the English, and then we have 2 under the French. And I know under the English, is also divided into 4 categories. Like we have reading, we have listening, we have speaking, and we have writing. So I believe the French is also going to have similar categories. That's 4 language abilities. So first, your minimum score in total is 7. Then you do qualify under the French language proficiency. The reason I'm starting with the French language proficiency is, in my opinion, it is very easy to qualify under the French than the others. Let's say me here today, I do not really count myself as proficient in French. But if you are proficient in French, or even if you are not, and you really want to qualify under the French language proficiency category, you can just find someone to teach you French, or just attend a French class and learn the language, whether it's going to take 6 months or 1 year or whatever. You can actually learn the French and then take the French test. If you take the French test and you're able to get a score of 7, automatically you qualify under the French language proficiency category. And with this, it means whenever there is a draw under the French category and you have enough points under it, which is normally lower than the general one, you will receive an invitation. And that is the only requirement in French that you need for the French language proficiency. So now we are going to the healthcare and social services occupations. So for the healthcare, there is 37 jobs or occupations under the healthcare and social services. So to be eligible under the healthcare and social services occupations category, you must have accumulated within the past 3 years at least 6 months of full-time continuous work experience or an equal amount of part-time experience in a single occupation listed in the table below, which you are going to go in Canada or abroad. So what this means is they are not going to be checking the last 10 years of your life. They are only going to be checking the last 3 years of your life. Which jobs have you done in the last 3 years of your life? If in the last 3 years you've done any of the jobs, any of the 37 jobs under the healthcare and social services for at least 6 months full time continuously, or even if it was part time, but you have an equal amount of experience. So let's say you are working part time and you are working, let's say 20 hours a week, and full time hours, as we know it, is 40 hours a week. So if you've been working 30 hours a week, then we can say for you to be for it to be um equal to 6 months of full-time job, then that means you must have worked for a year. So that's how they calculate it. In Canada, everything is about working hours. So if you've worked full-time 6 months continuously within the last 3 years, it means automatically you qualify under the healthcare and social services occupations. But if you work part-time, then you have to calculate the number of hours you've worked and see if it's equivalent to that full-time 6 months. That's how it works. So now we are going to go into the jobs, the 37 jobs under the healthcare and social services occupation. So the first one here is animal health technologists and veterinary technicians. And we also have the audiologists and speech language pathologists. As I said, this is for healthcare and social services occupations only. We'll go into the others after this. So we're going through them one after the other. The third on the list is cardiology technologists and electrophysiological diagnostic technologists. We also have chiropractors, we have dental hygienists and dental therapists, we have dentists, we have dietitians and nutritionists. We also have general practitioners and family physicians. You have licensed practical nurses. So let me say a bit about this licensed practical nurses. In Canada, we have it. Let me say, some people call it licensed practical nurses. Some people also call it registered practical nurses. So there is a difference between practical nurses or registered practical nurses and registered nurses. Registered nurses is registered nurses are people who have a bachelor's degree in nursing, a degree in nursing. That is the registered nurse, and practical nurse is the diploma. So, like in Ghana, for instance, the practical nurses will be people who have gone through the nursing training colleges and have a diploma. I think their program is, I think, for 3 years. Yes, in Ghana is for 3 years. So if you have a diploma in nursing, that is equivalent to the licensed practical nurses or registered practical nurses. But in all this, it's not just going to be on your paper. For you to even know what is equivalent to in Canada, you would have to, for you to be able to, you would have to do, um, what do they even call it again? An academic evaluation. Yes, you'd have to do an academic evaluation, and then afterwards, you will be able to know exactly what your degree or certificate is equivalent to in Canada. So that's how it works. So now I'm going to move on to the as others, massage therapists, and we also have medical laboratory assistants and related technical occupations, medical laboratory technologists, medical radiation technologists, medical sonographers, nurse aides, orderlies, and patient service associates, nursing practitioners, nursing coordinators and supervisors, occupational therapists, optometrists, and other medical technologists and technicians. Set, set. I'm wondering if my sound is being heard. Okay, let's continue. So after this, I'm going to the third list, the third panel. We also have other professional occupations in health diagnosing and treating. So if there's the NOC code is 31209. So every job has its own NOC code, which is going to help you know exactly what it qualifies under. So other professional occupations in health and diagnosing and treating. And we also have other technical occupations in therapy and assessments. I'm not sure if you hear my voice or not, so I'm going to pause it and then confirm if my voice is being heard or not. I'm coming. So, as I said, I'm trying to check if my sound is being heard or not. So, as I said, I'm trying to check if my okay. So it looks like it is okay, at least on YouTube. Mm. Okay. So I'm going to continue with it then. So if you're on YouTube, it's much easier because I think the sound and everything works on YouTube. For TikTok, I've not really confirmed it yet, but I'll definitely share the video on TikTok too later. So we also have paramedical occupations, pharmacists, pharmacy technical assistants, and pharmacy assistants, pharmacy technicians, um, physician assistants, midwives, and allied health professionals, physiotherapists, psychologists, and registered nurses and registered psychiatric nurses. So, as I said earlier, and was trying to make the distinction between practical nurses and registered nurses. So, this right here, that's the registered nurses and registered psychiatric nurses. That is the degree, and the practical nurse that we met earlier on, that was the diploma. So out here we also have the respiratory therapists, clinical perfusionists, and cardiopulmonary technologists. We have social and community service workers. We have social and community service workers. We have social workers, specialists in clinical and laboratory medicine. We have specialists in surgery. We have therapists and therapists in counseling and related specialized categories. And we also have veterinarians. So for this concludes the list for healthcare and social services. So now we are going to move to the next category on the list. That's STEM occupations. So under STEM, we have 11. We have 11 occupations under STEM. And just like the health, for you to be able to qualify under the STEM, you need to have accumulated within the last 3 years at least 6 months of full-time continuous work experience or an equal amount of part-time experience in a single occupation listed in the table below, and it can be in Canada or abroad. Doesn't necessarily have to be only in Canada. I mean, most people trying to become permanent residents in Canada are actually outside Canada. So it doesn't really matter whether you have the experience outside Canada, it still matters. You just need to do your academic evaluation and see if it's equivalent to any under here. So the 11 under the STEM includes architecture and science managers, civil engineering technologists and technicians, civil engineers, cybersecurity specialists, electrical and electronics engineering technologists, and technicians. Electrical and electronics engineers, geological engineers, industrial and manufacturing engineers, insurance agents and brokers, mechanical engineering technologists and technicians, and mechanical engineers. I didn't actually know insurance agents and brokers fall under STEM, but yeah, that's at least I also just learned something new here. So yes, if you fall under any of these 11 that we mentioned, that falls under STEM, you have a high chance of getting through with the category based system. So now we are moving to the trade occupations. So with trade occupations, we have Let me see. The eligibility for all of them is just as I already mentioned. You should have at least 6 months of full-time continuous work experience in the last 3 years, and it can be either in Canada or abroad. And under trade occupations, we have 25 occupations or jobs or professions. And these include contractors and supervisors, oil and gas, drilling and services, floor covering installers, painters and decorators, roofers and shinglers, concrete finishers, other technical trades and related occupations, water well drillers, electrical mechanics, heating and refrigeration, no, heating, refrigeration, and air conditioning mechanics, heavy duty equipment mechanics. And we also have construction, millwrights, and industrial mechanics, bricklayers, cabinet makers, carpenters, gas fitters, plumbers, industrial electricians, except industrial and power system, welders, and related machine operators. And we also have sheet metal workers. Then we come to the last five under the trades. That's machinists and machining and tooling inspectors, home building and renovation managers, construction managers, cooks, construction estimators. So these 25 jobs or occupations fall under the trades category. So now we move to agriculture and agri-food occupations. Under this, we have just one job, and that's butchers, retail, and wholesale. Butchers. So if you are a butcher, whether for retail or wholesale, you do qualify under this category. And as I said, can be in Canada or abroad, you still qualify. And that is agriculture and agri-food occupations category. We also have education occupations, and under this, we have just five. That's elementary and secondary school teacher assistants, instructors of persons with disabilities, early childhood educators and assistants, elementary school and kindergarten teachers, secondary school teachers. So if you've had 6 months work experience in under any of these job categories within the last 3 years of your life, you can also qualify under the education occupation category. So as I have explained earlier, it's not that easy to garner the number of points that is needed for the general express entry these days. And as a result, it's become much easier to get through if you fall under these categories. And this is why I decided to make it a point to teach this, so that in case you fall under any of these professions, you do know that your chances are higher than others. And you make it a point to write your exam proficiency exam and then send in your application. If you want to know how to create an account and create an application and submit it, I've already made several videos about the express entry, and you can go on my channel on YouTube and check all that and follow through and get it. I wish you all the best. See you in the next video.